Hi, a very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Wei Bin. I'm from TNB Ventures, and we, together with the PSC2021 Working Committee, we are the co-organizers for the Smart Port Challenge 2021 this year. We are very happy to have you on board. I'm not sure if you actually were at the launch 2 weeks ago. So we just launched our Smart Port Challenge this year on the 18th of June. Here you are. We are right now kicking off a series of road shows to let you guys, the startups and innovators, as well as partners in the ecosystem, to learn more about the innovation opportunities that we have. All right. So this year we have about 17 innovation opportunities, and a total of 21 corporates are joining us this time round. Now, so like I said, this is a part of the series of the entire roadshow, and the call is all open all the way to 10th of August. So hurry up, sign up for the roadshows if you want to learn more about the innovation opportunities. And this afternoon, we have with us two very distinguished guests, two representatives from one of our partners. We have Deepak from Eastern Pacific Shipping.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Deepak.
Hi, Vibin.
Hi. And we have...
Clearly?
Yes, we can hear you. And we have Randy. Randy is from Sembcorp Marine Admiralty Yard. Hi, Randy.
Hi, good afternoon.
We are very happy to have you guys with us today. All right, so first up, so we're going to have the first part of segment with EPS, Eastern Pacific Shipping, to share about the innovation opportunity that you have. But before we deep dive into the innovation opportunity, perhaps, Deepak, would you like to sort of introduce yourself and what you do at EPS and what essentially what EPS is doing?
Sure, Vibin. Thanks for the opportunity. I hope my voice is still clear and I'm not breaking up.
Loud and clear.
Perfectly all right. That's sound check. All right, great. About Eastern Pacific Shipping first. This is a private-owned international shipping company spanning for like 60 years now, headquartered in Singapore for the past 30 years, with a mission to be the safest and the efficient transportation provider of choice to the shipping industry. This is all empowered with over 5,000 plus skilled workers and with more than 150 different capacity, different size vessels as well. So EPS definitely has, is a leading in terms of a shipping company, both private company owned as well as a management company, in terms of doing all sorts of fleet management, different anything that you talk about, a complete package of management services, from the building and purchase of vessels through to crewing, operating, maintenance, repair, insurance, legal services, assisting the owners in finding employment for their vessels. So it's a complete suite in itself. What exactly we are committed to the providing the highest levels of customer satisfaction, and that's our prime goal. Now, why EPS? EPS is basically has gone through a lot of tremendous changes over the past few years. In 2018, we started with a technology accelerated program, I would say. And this was all initiated by having a special advisor, a Gil Offer, who is our owner's son, who joined the company in capacity of a special advisor for innovation. And then we have a chief innovation officer as well, Klaus, who joined the industry in order to make EPS a catalyst for innovation in the maritime industry, with a mission of to cultivate and mentor the next generation of maritime technology entrepreneurs. So in 2018, 2019, and this being the third year now, we are talking about having more applications to come in. We have some tech startups that joined us that, we provided the mentorship over there. And this mentorship was more about how we basically have a leapfrog in the industry towards the digital transformation, towards innovation. and how this can become a fast growing setup from the startup that we are all talking about. Um, so you might have heard from the maritime industry, couple of startups that were, which we initiated with in the first year and the second year. They are all now grown-ups, not anymore a startup. Must have seen in the magazine as well, digital ships about F drones. F drone, if I talk about, it's enabling efficient and sustainable maritime logistics and being the world's first transition drone delivering supplies to ships and offshores lakes as well. The other one being Serocon, I can think about, which creates an end-to-end Internet of Things and immersive reality, augmented reality, virtual reality solutions for multiple industries. So you can think about wearable goggles and all those things that can be used in maritime industry. On a very similar note, now I will talk about why we are here. We, in our second year challenge, we had a Nido Robotics, and the Nido Robotics, as we have, we had a word about it. It's a manufacturer who creates underwater ROVs, remotely operated underwater vehicles, or you can call it as underwater drones, that allows to perform inspection, maintenance, or research efficiently at very competitive rates and without putting any human life at risk. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So, being such a large company with 5,000 overs, skilled employees, we definitely are quite empathetic towards our seafarers who are there, who are away from their family and who have to do a, more complicated and complex job. But this is more about how we can digitize their effort, in terms of how they as a human will do the inspection and maintenance, something which is already launched, like drones or something that can, take over that human effort and can be done and can be efficiently utilized. So one of the challenge that we saw, that we basically faced during this ROV operation was, these ROVs are basically on board on our ships. What we do is these requires internet connectivity as well. You around the shore, we definitely have the 4G LTE connectivity, which is fine. But as soon as we move away from the Singapore anchorage, we lose the connectivity. We have spotty connectivity as well. Sometimes the internet bandwidth is not too robust enough or stable enough to have a synchronous connection of kind of at least 40 Mbps or something. So that's where, we face a lot of challenge in order to connect our devices. And we definitely are looking for some kind of a solution or an innovation, or you can see, what will be the best fit in order to provide the stable connectivity to our ROVs.
Thank you, Deepak. Well, actually, I haven't really introduced you. So Deepak is actually the IT and Innovation Manager from EPS, which is why he's so passionate about talking about innovation and technologies. And actually, the things that you have actually talked about, PS21 has actually done a beautiful video to showcase this particular innovation challenge opportunity. Shall we do a quick screen share on the video to let you guys have a feel or a flavor of what Deepak is actually talking about with the visuals and with the visuals on? Okay, all right. Looking at it.
The use of underwater robotics for inspection, maintenance, or research is becoming more prevalent. However, most of such applications are done out at sea and require a stable internet connectivity for high-resolution images or videos from the underwater assets to be transferred onshore for analysis. The current 4G LTE network is available in many areas, but becomes less reliable once the user is away from the shore, making it difficult for real-time communication between the vessel and the onshore control center. Eastern Pacific Shipping and Nido Robotics are looking for a solution that allows a stable, synchronous connection of at least 40 megabits per second, with a reach of about 10 kilometers away from shore, maintaining a speed of 40 to 50 megabits per second per connected device.
All right, thank you very much. So that's a short video that we have about the challenge statement, looking for solutions to the remote connectivity. Now you must be thinking right now, why is EPS actually working with Nido Robotics, and what is this Nido Robotics all about, right? So right now I'm just going to give you a bit of a flavor of what Nido Robotics does. And I'm just going to share the screen. All right, there you have it. This is the video of how the Nido Robotics look like. Right, so back to Deepak. Right, so earlier we mentioned about the remote connectivity, right? So can you share more in details about the kind of connection that you need, and what exactly are you looking at when you actually need this kind of connections? What do you need for this kind of connectivity for?
Well, you can compare this with very well with your kind of a mobile phone, right? So we are into the 5G era right now. We all would like our mobile phone to be 5G connected every time, so that we have a super fast speed. We don't have to wait for any buffering. Our calls are not disconnected due to network issues or something like that. So similarly, you can compare the same thing with these ROVs as well, which are going to be underwater drones. Uh, so it requires an internet connection, and it could be anything, either 5G, as I just said, or can be any other data transmission protocol with a high enough bandwidth. That can be an open system, which can be installed, a proprietary system, which can provide a coverage to those eastern anchorages or maybe many parts of the Singapore water. As we just mentioned, around reach of a 10 kilometers, somewhere around 40 to 50 Mbps per connected device would be the best solution in order to operate these robots efficiently and effectively, so that they can capture the images, they can do the inspections and maintenance and any kind of research work without any interruption. And without any failure.
Got it. Thank you, Deepak. I'm going to stop you there. If you have any questions, do remember to key in your questions in the Q&A chat box in the Zoom function, and I'm going to take your questions from there. Okay. So moving on back to Deepak again, I was just wondering, have you actually tried some of the solutions that are already out there? Yeah. Have you tried it?
So I will actually talk on behalf of, the Nido Robotics CEO. His name is Roy, who is unfortunately not able to join this meeting due to some other engagements. He was here definitely in Singapore in order to try those robots, where I believe during his initial testing, he came across those spotty connectivity. And then basically, as per his initial evaluation and analysis about how these robots will be connected, he found out that these robots are getting an interrupted connectivity. And that's where this problem statement came in picture, where he actually wanted to ensure, as part of our cohorts, from the tech start point of view, where he can get this is a very simple problem if we talk about, but the solution could be a major investments over there. It could be a small setup over there just for specific to robots. So it could be anything, just needs to be something innovative, where we have a, a spotless connectivity to just these devices, which are just efficiently working in that sense. So I believe that kind of testing and evaluation was done where this was a problem that Roy has actually encountered.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Deepak, and basically EPS for sharing this. Unfortunately, we can't have Roy from Nido here today, but it's okay. So so far we don't have any much questions from our startups. But if we do, if you have any questions after the session, please remember you can just ping us anytime, and then we will direct the questions back to Deepak and the team. Right, so thank you very much, Deepak, for joining us this afternoon. Then next, I'm going to move on to Randy. Hi,
Hello.
Randy.
Hi.
Right. So do you mind, sharing a bit of introducing about yourself and what you do at Sembcorp Marine Admiralty Yard?
Okay. Hi. My name is Randy. I'm one of the HSC managers in Sembcorp Marine Admiralty Yard. So we're fortunate to be here to allow us to share our concern, and of course we're looking for something like solutions from all of us who are watching this show, right? So basically, Sembcorp Marine Admiralty Yard is one of the 5 shipyards of Sembcorp Marine. Okay, so our shipyard specializes in repair of ships, especially tankers. Okay. Passenger ships, LNG tankers, and also some of the Navy ships. All right, so what happens is whenever a ship goes for repair in the shipyard, okay, works are being carried out in the confined space. So meaning to say confined space, those are like cargo tanks, water ballast tanks. And of course, in order to maintain these tanks safe, these tanks has to be periodically monitored for gases, because one of the hazards of working in the confined space is the presence of toxic gases, flammable gases, and this has to be monitored, right? And that's the reason why we are here to look out for solutions on how this gas monitoring can be automated. Yeah, so that's all for a short introduction.
Thanks, Randy. I'm going to stop you there. Well, because we also have a very good and detailed video of what's going on at the Sembcorp Marine Admiralty Shipyard on this innovation opportunity. Can we share screen and the video on this opportunity? There you go. It's up now.
When a ship docks for repairs at a yard, the atmospheric conditions in confined spaces, such as cargo and ballast tanks, must be continually monitored to ensure safety of workers accessing them. This is currently a manual process conducted by a confined space safety assessor who stands outside each confined space with a gas detector to measure and record the atmospheric data. At an average of 3 minutes per space, it takes about an hour to complete this for every confined space on board. The entire process is then repeated every 6 hours for as long as the ship is docked for repairs. Sembcorp Marine Admiralty Yard is seeking an automated solution that can be easily deployed and uninstalled on vessels that enter the shipyard for repairs. It must be able to test for oxygen levels, detect presence of flammable gas or vapor, as well as concentration of toxic substances every 6 hours. In addition to generating gas monitoring reports, the solution must also send alerts when thresholds are exceeded.
Thank you. All right, so Randy, back to you. All right, so that's a very good comprehensive video, but I have actually a lot of questions. Why every 6 hours?
Well, the so-called 6-hourly monitoring is actually required. Is a government requirement issued to the shipyard. For those of our viewers, if you can recall, in the past, there were many so-called fire accidents in the shipyard. And that's why the government has stepped in to impose safety requirements. And one of these requirements is this periodic monitoring of cargo tanks every 6 hours.
Right. And what kind of gases that you are actually measuring and detecting?
Okay, there are 4 key gases that we need to monitor. First is the oxygen level. So the oxygen level must be on the safe range, which is 19.5 to 23.5% with volume.
So that's because the workers are in the cargo as well, right? They're working inside.
Yeah, so you know, inside the tank, right? There's always the hazards of lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
So for work to be carried out, so the tank has to be continuously ventilated. And so our HSE personnel, or the confined space safety assessor, has to do the periodic monitoring to make sure that the oxygen level of the tank is maintained at that safe level. Now, in addition to that, we also monitor the level of flammable gases. So especially for cargo tanks, so meaning to say those tanks containing cargo oil or other chemicals. Of course, before the ship comes into the shipyard, these tanks are cleaned and are certified gas-free. However, in the course of work, flammable gases may be introduced. For example, from the remaining sludge, or it could be from the leak from gas hoses. And that is why the so-called periodic monitoring of flammable gases has to be carried out. Thirdly, there are also presence of toxic gases. For example, carbon monoxide and hydrogen sulfide. So these are the common gases that we also need to monitor. And this has to be carried out on a 6-hourly basis.
Right. I would presume carbon monoxide. Are these odorless, or is it something that you'll be able to detect it if a human being is going to walk past, or do you have any additional requirements on some of the potentially odorless, poisonous gases that would be released?
Well, that's the problem with gases, right? Some of them are odorless, and that's why you need to have a measuring device to detect whether the level is safe or not.
Right, right. Okay, so if it is just human detection, it'll be too late, right?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and earlier you mentioned about you'll be able to sort of you're looking for some solutions to generate gas monitoring reports. Can you share with us what are the current processes like? How has it been so far?
All right, the current process is very manual. So meaning to say our personnel, the confined space safety assessor, will go to the tank, do the measurement for say 3 minutes, and then he has to record this on a monitoring paper, right? So and this has to be carried out for all the open tanks of the vessel, and now all these records has to be kept for future for reference in the future. So what we're looking now is an automated solution. So meaning to say, instead of a person doing the gas monitoring, doing the recording, we're looking for some solutions. Why? Because centralized gas monitoring, there is already a similar technology employed by other industries. For example, petrochemicals, they are able to install centralized gas monitoring devices, which record and gives information to a command center. So of course, we are coming up from the same principle that if this is being practiced from other industry, perhaps with the current technology, this can also be applied for the marine and offshore industry.
So have you, I mean, you're aware of such solutions out there. Have you actually tried some of the solutions out there?
Actually, just for the information of our viewers, in the shipyard itself or in the marine industry, every year we have all these innovation competitions going on. And it just happened really that perhaps with the limitation of the shipyard to carry out and to do what they call study on this, this is really beyond our capability. And that is why we are looking for those startups or those new companies who may be interested in looking into this problem.
Right, very well. Okay, thank you, Randy. Is there any other things that anyone wants to add on? Let me just give it a check on the Q&A. If you have any questions, you can just type your questions in the Q&A chat box. If not, okay, all right. So someone asked, what are the challenges with the current solutions? I think the video has explained the current solution is actually quite a manual process, right, Randy? And it takes so long.
Yeah, that's true. So
you mentioned that it takes about an hour to check one vessel itself.
Yes, because a normal vessel with it's about 20 confined spaces. So if works will be carried out on those spaces, then our personnel will have to go through each of the tank and repeat the process on the same day.
So what kind of work do you guys do within the confined spaces?
Well, depends on the scope, but the common works would be like the common maintenance work, for example, cleaning of the tanks, and then there will also be like structural repair, meaning to say the component of the tanks, the metals has to be replaced, has to be repaired, fit in a new one. So at any point in time, there could be, depending on the scope of work, there could be about 10 to 20 people inside the tank.
Right. Okay. So it seems like it's a spectrum of work from light touch, light works all the way to heavy metal works, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I have a question here from one of the attendee. Someone's asking about the location of the cargo and ballast tanks. How difficult would it be for autonomous robots to move around within the confined spaces?
Sorry, is it for me or is it for Deba?
That's for you, Randy.
So the question is, sorry.
Yeah. So where's the location of the cargo and ballast tanks? And
Okay.
what would it be for an autonomous robot to move around in such confined spaces?
Oh, okay. I think I get what he's trying to ask. So,
you try something similar? An autonomous
robot? Not yet, but we can explore on that. Location. Okay, location of access to the confined spaces, mostly on the main deck of the vessel. So means if you are standing on a ship, you just try to visualize that you can see all the access on the main deck. So and all the gas monitoring are carried out at these points. Now, if you're talking about robots to do this, well, we have not looked into it, but definitely there could be a challenge that it will generate. But of course, what we're looking at something like a fixed monitoring devices that can be installed at the entrance of the tank. And then as these devices has to be rugged, as well as has to be portable and has to be easily installed. Why? Because once the repair is complete, then all these monitoring devices has to be removed again and to be used to the next vessel.
All right, so I repeat your specific requirements that you wanted it to be rugged. It has to display a certain level of ruggedness, yep. As well as the portability is an issue as well. Yeah, so that you would be able to sort of port it from one confined space to another. All right, and connectivity wise?
Well, that's the in the current in those solutions that we have looked into. They're also relying on, I think that's what Deepak also mentioned, they're relying on a wireless connection to transfer the data from the vessel to the, say, the control station. One that I have read is the solution is able to transfer data for a radius of about 10 kilometers. So I think that is sufficient in our current setting. However, this so-called solution has not been tested for offshore and marine industry. Okay,
so you guys will be the pioneer.
Yeah.
So for a successful finalist or someone you want to work with, what kind of resources? What can they expect working with you at pilot stage? In terms of what kind of resources will you be providing? If there's a solution that you are keen to explore?
For us, okay, basically, our yard, we will be offering our yard as something like a test bed, okay? Because of course, end of the day, the shipyard will benefit from this solution. So for those interested to look into this solution, then we will be working with you, so that you will have first-hand information what you will really so-called be exposed to say what was really the challenge, or how do we really do the job. So with this first-hand information and exposure into the shipyard, you will be able to develop the solution that really meets our needs.
Sounds good. First-hand info into the shipyard. All right, so I have another question about, are there any, I think it's fire safety or explosion-proof requirements, fire safety requirements, I think, for the monitoring system?
Yes, all the solutions that, of course, has to be considered the safety requirements. So which means if we're going to install a monitoring device inside the tank, all this has to be is intrinsically safe, as well as explosion or fire and explosion proof.
All right. So that's all for the questions from the Q&A segment. If you have more questions, keep coming in, and then we will actually, refer these questions back to our representative, Randy from Sembcorp Marine. So I think that's all for this segment. Anything you want to add, Randy, or even Deepak?
Yeah, maybe this ROV or the underwater drones, as we were talking about, is more about making the seafarers' life easy. Doing any underwater jobs, making it much more easier. Having said that, when we have a proper connection to the internet, and which is more stable and synchronous, you can you can think about uh, anybody who's sitting back in office, any superintendents or somebody who should also be involved in those inspection, can directly get a feed from those underwater robots or drones, and they don't have to actually travel to that location because they are sitting back in their office. This robots are automatically transmitting data back to the office location, back to the someone who is controlling it, and you don't have to actually rely on being physically present at the location. So that saves a lot of time and effort from each and every operations perspective. And you can think about from a business point of view, from running a shipping industry point of view, any hour that you can save from the life of seafarer in doing their job easier, making their job and life easier in terms, you can think of that's a direct contribution to the company's margin as well. So more or less it's a win-win situation where you get you have a data, a pool of data from robots which are capturing. You can do any kind of analytics on that, you can do any kind of patterns on that, and it can go into much more advanced level for sure. You have those uh, machine learning, artificial intelligence capabilities that can be again involved in that. So it's definitely something that is more uh, industry specific, and kind of a place where it's very uneasy for any human life to be over there. It's sea, underwater inside the sea. So definitely this is one point that I would like to touch about. And to our audience over here, and we definitely, as I was talking about, we have EPS has a tech accelerator program, which we run, and this is the third year which we are running right now. And what's happening now is the applications are open. We are still inviting startups to to apply for that. It goes through a thorough review process, and based on that we reward uh, around 10 startups to join us, where we provide everything that's required, right from space to mentorship to to some kind of investment over there, in order to come up with those solutioning, which is like in the 2 to 3 months time as per the deadlines that we have. We look forward for the solutions and the suggestions that can basically help us to take that leapfrog into the digital transformation or the innovation space of maritime. So that's the second message that I would definitely like to put across for our audience here.
Thank you, Deepak. If I were to summarize what you're saying is, one, I hear you loud and clear. It's not only about impacting the direct stakeholders involved with the ROV, but also the stakeholders downstream as well, in terms of, alleviating some of the job and tasks, the menial tasks that they are doing currently. So we are actually innovating the entire process here, and of course, trying to disrupt the innovation within the maritime industry. So that's one. And what I'm hearing as well is data is a new goal, right? Because if we are collecting data from all this robotics, we'll be able to sort of analyze, and something may come up from it the next time, right? So, and yeah, thank you. Thanks, Deepak. What about Randy?
Well, I think what I would like to say is we've been trying to look for solutions for this problem many years. We tried internally to do it until we were sort of invited in this first in the maritime workshop. And then we see the opportunity that we can network with the other players in the industry. And that is why when we presented our problem statement, it was also considered and recognized. meaning to say that this is not only a shipyard problem, and at the end, if you are able to find solution to this, it's not only the shipyard who will benefit, but also the shipping industry. Why? Because the ship itself needs monitoring of confined spaces. So the potential applications for this solution is not only benefiting the shipyard, but as well as the shipping industry as a whole. So I would encourage our startups out there to also consider our problem and look into solutions to it.
Thank you so much, Wendy. All right. So if you're a startup out there and you're listening to us right now, so please, sign up. The registration or the application closes on 10th August. So the earlier you can actually apply, we will be able to sort of look through your proposals and so on. So hopefully we get to hear from you as soon as possible, and then we'll be in touch with you because the next run will be next coming Tuesday, where we have another round of outreach. Here it is. On 6th July, we'll be talking to three other companies on 2 innovation challenges, right? So this afternoon, thank you so much for sharing this afternoon with me, Deepak from EPS, as well as Randy from Sembcorp Marine. Guys, apply. What are you waiting for? All right. So thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.